it's Gwyn and welcome back to the Revolver Beatles channel. Well, considering the fanfare and controversy surrounding Power to the People, Wings and Anthology 2025, which have been announced in recent months, we've had a scattering of other announcements which have flown somewhat under the radar, and I think it's time to bring those into focus. Some of these releases are related to Record Store Day, the Black Friday event which is taking place on the 28th of November. Now, I've got mixed feelings about Record Store Day, which can present various pros and cons to us as Beatle fans and music fans in general. So I'd like to take a look at the whole concept of Record Store Day and particularly how it works for us as Beatle fans and also what we can expect from this year's releases. Let's dive in. So firstly, let's look at the pros of Record Store Day. Firstly, we get exclusive releases. We all love, don't we, the limited edition pressings, coloured vinyl, rare reissues and previously unavailable material that Apple and the solo estates put out specifically for Record Store Day. And some of these items become prized possessions in collections. Secondly, the whole community and atmosphere thing. Lining up early, meeting fellow collectors, chatting about finds. Many say that the social aspect of it makes it feel like a vinyl festival. As Beatle fans, it's quite satisfying to know that the guy in front of you is a dedicated fan of German thrash metal and so won't be pulling out anything I'm likely to be looking for. Next, and perhaps not applicable necessarily to Beatle fans, but many of us pick up records that you might not have considered buying in the first place. Next, some consider a pro of it being a potential investment. Certain record store releases do skyrocket in value as they appear on the secondary markets, which excites some collectors who like the investment side of vinyl, but I'm not sure that really applies to us Beatle fans who are in it for the music. Finally, supporting local independent record stores, which I guess we would all consider to be important and was the original concept of Record Store Day. And if these stores weren't around, we wouldn't have the opportunity to go crate digging and find the music that we love. So that's it for pros, but what about the cons in relation to Record Store Day? Well, the biggest has to be scalping and reselling. One of the biggest criticisms there is. Flippers grab limited releases and immediately list them online for vastly inflated prices. This leaves genuine fans like you and me priced out of items that we would like to add to our collections. Overpriced and gimmicky releases. Some collectors feel labels use Record Store Day as an excuse to push overpriced reissues, picture discs or novelty pressings that don't add much value musically. What about that mini Beatles turntable with 3-inch discs released last year, as an example? Seriously? I have to confess that I was suckered into the shiny new world of George Harrison's Zoetrope collecting the other year when I bought Wonderwall music and electronic sounds, only to have my dreams shattered when the only copy of All Things Must Pass on Zoetrope in the store that I was queuing up patiently for, and I was picked to the post by a chap 6 places ahead of me in the queue. That was absolutely gutting. The numbers released of All Things Must Pass on Zoetrope was actually very limited. I took a look on Amazon a couple of days ago and copies were running for £450. Madness. So where is the incentive and reward for us loyal fans in having such a limited supply? Danny Harrison, I'm looking at you. So, just to add to the fun, this year's listing includes another Zoetrope edition, Living in the Material World. Is it worth the queues and the hassle, maybe to miss out again? The jury's out. Another factor that has been a point of criticism is that there have just been too many releases for Record Store Day. In recent years, the sheer number of titles has overwhelmed collectors, and some say that the event has become quite bloated with quantity over quality. At this point, I will mention that there are releases available this year featuring both Danny Harrison and Sean Lennon. And if you're so inclined, and I know someone who is, there is a Billy Idol album also released on the Dark Horse label. Another factor is stress and competition. People lining up at 7 a.m. in the drizzle of a freezing morning in Woking town centre. Running into the shop and fighting over limited stock can sour the experience. Not everyone enjoys the frenzy that is Record Store Day. Another factor is quality control issues. There have been complaints that pop up about rushed pressings, warped editions, or poor mastering. Since demand is high and production is often rushed, quality can often slip. Now, I personally haven't experienced that, to be honest, but forums, if you look on them, are littered with experience of quality control issues. Some people feel that Record Store Day goes against the spirit of collecting. Some argue that the true collecting experience is about the slow discovery and personal connection, not scrambling in a queue once a year for a hyped up release. What is more is that there are often variances between what is released in the US and what is released here in the UK. I can't talk about other territories particularly, but the announcement this year of Ringo's Choose Love album, which is going to be on red vinyl, is on the US listings, but not on the UK listings. Fantastic. So for me, it's in the balance as to whether or not I'll participate in this Black Friday event. Do I really want to embark on an Indiana Jones style escapade in order to pick up just a piece of vinyl that I want? On a wider issue, the nature of collecting Beatles media, vinyl records, CDs, cassettes, box sets and whatever else, has become far more of a complex pursuit over recent years. I pine for the days when an album release would be accompanied by a couple of 7-inch singles only. Job done. Just look to the extent that McCartney 3 was exploited with the various coloured versions as one example. And what about the McCartney 3x3 releases? That really ground my gears, to be honest. A release where it was a lottery which version you would get. So for collectors in theory, they may have had to buy multiple versions in order to complete a full set. Why should it be necessary for a website offering an exchange service to be established so that fans could complete their sets? Absolutely full kudos to fellow YouTuber Dino V for doing this at that time. It was above and beyond the call of duty. As it was, this was a release that I decided not to participate in, and another example of McCartney fans being pushed to the limit. So for me, collecting has become a pastime of compromise. I still aim to pick up a version of each album that is released, but my choices are based upon the cost and the number and type of variants and the songs which are included on each of these variants. It has become quite a forensic task to identify what equates to the best choice for me to make. But what are your thoughts? Please put them in the comments below, as it might just persuade me whether or not to take part in the Black Friday event. But hold your horses, that's not all. Squeaking out with very little fanfare have been some other releases which may or may not be of interest to you. So, following on from the white vinyl release of A Hard Day's Night last year, Abbey Road gets the coloured vinyl treatment, which seems to be a theme this autumn, on a striking green disc, which is a Target exclusive release in the US and available here in the UK as an HMV exclusive release. Promoting the release of a special box set of classic Christmas songs, we see the release again of Happy Christmas War Is Over by John and Yoko on green vinyl. I think this is the third time. Also, we have Wonderful Christmas Time by Paul, and this time on yellow vinyl. Both of these 7-inch singles are included in the box set and features everybody from Frank Sinatra, the Beach Boys and Elton John. Personally, while I might be persuaded to purchase the wonderful Christmas Time on yellow vinyl, I think I'm going to leave alone another copy of Happy Christmas, War Is Over on green vinyl. Ringo has just announced some other new releases for you to make a decision about too. His first 4 albums are being released on October the 23rd. Firstly, we have Sentimental Journey, which is on a buttermilk yellow vinyl. Buku of Blues on baby blue vinyl. The Ringo album on Molten Lava. And Goodnight Vienna on Psychedelic Waves. Currently, these are only available for pre-order on the Ringo Starr website. So if you're in the UK or other territories, you have to consider the inflated delivery cost on top of the item cost, which is currently $29.99 US. Hopefully, other outlets will have the opportunity to provide these albums in the future. Until then, I think I'll probably be giving these albums a swerve. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the subject of both Record Store Day and also collecting the Beatles and how it's changed. Younger fans, I'd love to know what you think if you're embarking upon this journey of record collecting, and what do you see as essential items to collect? Older fans of my vintage and older, what is important to you? And also, do you have a plan for what happens to your collection when you depart the material world? Well, that's about it for this one, but as a favour, I'd really appreciate it if you can consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a like. Also, if you can click for notifications, that would be fantastic and ensures that you don't miss any of our future content. Well, until the next time, it's bye for now.